With the news of Donald Trump's indictment, as well as the indictment of his personnel and lawyers, many people are black-pilled. They're concerned that this is it. It's the end. I don't think so. In fact, I think quite the opposite. What we're seeing with the prosecution of Donald Trump is pure panic. The machine is breaking down. They know it. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. The only thing they have left is raw power. Moves of the desperate, of the fearful. I wouldn't be surprised if many of these Democrats are crying at night. Why? Culturally, the shift is happening. Y'all have heard the song, Rich Men North of Richmond? Sure you have. It got like 10 million views on YouTube, 10 million hits plus, not to mention all the other social media, in a matter of days. Because the message resonates. And now we have more major breaking news. Oh, and it's not just this one story, my friends. It's several stories. Pride Month backlash hurt Target sales. They fell for the first time in 6 years. Holy crap. The boycott. This is remarkable. I got a lot of people asking me about what I think is going to happen in 2024. They say, Donald Trump can't win. And I say, are you crazy? Of course he can win. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Now, I don't want to get all super political. I want to talk to you about cultural issues, but this is the point. They keep screaming in our faces. We have no power. We have no authority. We can't win. We are but stupid, poor men south of Richmond. I'm not south of Richmond, by the way. In the literal sense, I'm a rich man north of Richmond, but not who Oliver Anthony was talking about. You get my point. I'm making a joke. They say these things because we're winning. When the Target Pride Month boycott started, it had already been in effect. And the media tried coming out claiming that conservatives and, anti-woke people or whatever. They say everyone's a conservative or right wing, but that's stupid. They said that they were trying to drum up a cause against Target. In reality, the news broke because of the backlash. Parents enter Target and they see sexualized content, products, right in the front, and they got their kids with them. And they said no. They said no. There's more news. Billy Bush, the Anheuser-Busch family, the heirs, want to buy back Bud Light because InBev is destroying it. Wow. Well, that's amazing. And then we got news about Sound of Freedom. My friends, it has officially surpassed Dial of Destiny. It is in the top 10 films of the year, and it didn't even launch internationally. Now that is winning, and they know it. So the only thing they can do is humiliate and strike fear into your hearts, but I don't think it works. 2024 is likely going to be crazy. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm fearful. So long as we stay the course, remain peaceful, build culture, call out the liars, we will win. And anyone telling you you can't win is lying. I see a lot of people who say Trump can't win. I see Trump supporters saying Trump can't win. And I'm like, nah, get that defeatist stuff out of here. Proper ballot chasing, ballot harvesting, voter registration initiatives, ground activism, knocking door to door, plus a legal apparatus prepared to stop any nonsense, and Trump wins. The culture here proves it. You cannot come to me and say that Donald Trump stands no chance while the American people reject wokeness across the board. With Target getting hit, with Bud Light getting hit, with the success of Sound of Freedom, we can see, and these aren't the only stories, just the ones I've pulled up, we can see that the American people are standing up and doing something very simple. They're saying, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. They are taking humble and subtle actions which are wreaking havoc on the machine. So what happens when these simple people take the same exact sentiment that they reject Target with or Bud Light with? What happens when they take that sentiment to the voting booth? The only argument the naysayers have is that the deep state will stop you. If that were true, they would not be trying to put Trump in prison. If it were true that they controlled everything so miraculously and powerfully, they wouldn't have to do any of this. No, my friends, what you are seeing is victory on the horizon. Now, You didn't win yet. Keep up this stuff. This is amazing. Pride Month hurt Target. Wow. Bud Light collapsing. Sound of Freedom skyrocketing. Rich men north of Richmond resonating in the hearts and minds of the working class in this country. And the machine so desperate to smear Oliver Anthony. I love to see it. They're so scared. I'm not. I'm enjoying life. As dangerous and as crazy things may be. Many people say, civil war is trending. I've said civil war. People have said revolution, communist revolution, attempted. I do not believe in the long run we lose this one. Let me bring you the news. Let's read the news here because these stories get me all excited. CNN reports Target's quarterly sales fell for the first time in 6 years as consumers pulled back on home goods, clothing, and other discretionary goods. Backlash to Target's Pride Month clothing collection and the company's response also hit sales. You'll love to hear it, don't you? Sales at stores open for at least 1 year dropped 5.4% last quarter, including a 10.5% drop online. The company also cut its annual sales forecast. Still, Target's profit came in higher than Wall Street's expectations, and the stock rose 8% in pre-market trading. Let's see how their stock handles it. Hey, maybe it goes up. I don't know. I can only tell you. Here's the one takeaway you get from this story. People stopped shopping at Target because of their Pride Month collection. Because they're saying enough. I'm not interested in this stuff. Target was one of the strongest performing retailers during the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. This we know. And Pride Month backlash. Target has also been embroiled in the political culture wars over gender and sexual orientation beginning in May. Target also faced a homophobic campaign that went viral on social media over its annual Pride Month clothing collection. Fueled by far-right personalities, the anti-LGBTQ campaign spread misleading information about the Pride Month products. The campaign became hostile with violent threats levied against Target employees, blah, blah, blah. Stop! Lie, CNN. Here's the real story. The hostilities were before the news reports. There was reports about people, or I should put it this way. Target said that individuals had confronted employees over the Pride Month merchandise before there was a news report about any proposed boycott. That's right. Parents were angry. Then, when the culture wars picked this up online, they said, look at what's going on with Target, not the other way around. CNN would have you believe that some right-wing personality, say a Benny Johnson type, went to Target and said, can you believe what they're doing? And then parents went, oh, harumph, I say. Inverse. Parents going to Target trying to buy stuff, saw this, got angry, confronted employees. The story started to go viral, and then right-wing personalities picked it up and started talking about it. But far be it from CNN to do any actual research on the timeline here. Target's response frustrated supporters of gay and trans rights because the company caved to bigoted pressure. And that's amazing. They say heading into Wednesday, Target's stock dropped 27% over the past year. So you notice how they lead with their stock is actually up in pre-market trading 8%, and it's down 27% over the past year. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. I think it's important to point out it may still go up, but this news may it may be a big hit. Then we have this. I love this one from the Examiner. Anheuser-Busch Air offers to buy back Bud Light. Will make the brand great again. Okay, I tell you this. If Anheuser-Busch Air Billy Bush buys back Bud Light, announces that they have bought back the brand, outright rejects what Bud Light proposed, I will go to the store and I will buy out their entire supply of Bud Light on the spot. It sounds big. It's not that much. The local liquor store here would probably have like 120 cans and maybe like, 120 bottles. Maybe more than that. Liquor store around near me is actually relatively small. But, they probably have a decent amount. I'll buy it all. If they come out and say, we're rejecting it, then I say, good. I am always about a path forward. Bud Light did not apologize. Anheuser-Busch did not apologize. That it's some wishy-washy nonsense, kept sponsoring this stuff. You know what we saw with Yingling? Yingling Presents, this venue. That's what it's called. It's called Yingling Presents in the name of this venue, Music Cafe or something. They were having an all-ages drag show. One of our viewers mentioned it on the members-only show, and I said, I'm going to tweet about this. Within days, Yingling issued a statement saying, "We sponsor the venue, not the event. When we found out about it, we communicated with the organizers that this should be 18 plus. And everybody cheered. Conservatives who don't like drag performance said, hey, man, if you're an adult, do your thing, but no kids. And we agree with that. Hey, you shouldn't have kids at these things. Yingling did that. That's how you handle it. Bud Light did not. But if Bud Light goes back to the Busch family and they want to make it great again, I will give them that chance. Because I always say this, if you don't give someone the opportunity to succeed after doing the right thing, they'll just go to your enemies. If you've got a dude who likes vanilla and you got a dude who likes strawberry, and then the company comes out and says strawberry is number one, and you say, hey, man, that's BS. Vanilla is way better. They come out and say, okay, we're so sorry. We're going to go with vanilla. And you go, no, screw you. We hate you. You're strawberry. They're going to say, okay, we go strawberry. No. You don't want any of that. You want to say, okay, we accept your apology. We welcome you back. We will buy your product. Please come and support us. Flies with honey. Anheuser-Busch heir Billy Bush said he would be the first to buy back Bud Light should the beer's parent company AB InBev want to sell it. If they don't want that brand any longer, sell it back to the Bush family, he told out Tommy Loren. Sell it to me. I'll be the first in line to buy that brand back from you, and we'll make that brand great again. While appearing on Tommy Loren is Fearless, Bush explained how disheartening it has been to watch the beer brand, which was so much part of his childhood, lose its legacy of valuing its customers and employees. The culture is completely gone now. They knew who their drinkers were. Even my dad at 89 years old, 90 years old, he was still going to the bar selling Budweiser back in those days. We've always cared very, very much about the people in America. What made this company great was America, of course. Bush added that AB InBev has missed the mark in knowing its customer base. Well, it's a European company. So what do you think? They don't care. They don't care at all. And now it's coming for Disney. Disney faces Bud Light-style boycott, which may send Disney shares crashing from Finbold. Disney risks Bud Light-style boycott as social media users threaten to never spend a single dollar on Disney after the company partnered with a TikTok influencer. Sean Altman, who identifies as a male but sometimes dresses up as a woman, did a sponsored post for a Disney-style TikTok account where he wore a Minnie Mouse-inspired look. Parents were quick to respond with rage, comparing it with Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney collaboration, which wiped out $27 billion off their market. And I think $400 million in sales. I must stress this again, my friends. It's called winning. And don't you forget it. They want you demoralized. They want you sad. They want you panicked. They want you afraid. But you know what? It's only because they're losing. It's only because wokeness is failing. In order to have their communist revolution, they need to win the culture. Right now, their battle is only in politics. They're losing the culture wars. They may be winning in a certain sense politically. The GOP does very little. The Democrats steamroll their opponents, but it means nothing. Don't make that mistake. It's the mistake I've made quite a bit. Democrats, the left, the neo-Marxists have long since tried, and successfully, I would say, they've long since infiltrated cultural institutions. And with that power, they can enforce the law. As I like to mention, it's illegal for women to skydive on Sunday in Florida. Ain't no woman getting arrested for doing that. When you control the culture, you determine who actually gets arrested. Now that they're in the political arena so desperate to deal with Donald Trump, they're falling into the trap Republicans have fallen into for quite some time. Losing the culture wars and gaining ground politically, meaningless. Politics is downstream from culture. So what happens? From Newsweek, Jordan Peterson calls out Disney after Sound of Freedom breaks new record. I love how they just have to put Jordan Peterson's name in the story about Sound of Freedom, but sure. Psychologist and conservative influencer Peterson has become a vocal opponent of Disney in recent times, often sharing content that shows how the company's become woke. Meanwhile, The Sound of Freedom has become a surprise success at the domestic box office, consistently challenging films with greater budgets for top spot. The movie is based on the life of Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard and is aimed to take down a global child trafficking ring. And he had quite a bit of success, I might add. The movie has been the subject of audience suppression, conspiracy theories, as a number of videos have gone viral, supposedly showing viewers being removed from watching Sound of Freedom in theaters for various unexpected reasons. Despite the supposed suppression, Sound of Freedom has been a huge success, taking in $173,440,252 at the box office, according to Box Office Mojo. Peterson celebrated this landmark for Sound of Freedom by directing a tweet on X, formerly Twitter, squarely at Disney. Isn't that something? Are you paying attention, Disney? He wrote, before adding in parentheses, it's highly unlikely. Peterson has retweeted the news about Sound of Freedom's milestone from the far right, zerohedge.com. I love it. Zero Hedge is far right? What? They're going to mention that Sound of Freedom came out on the 4th of July, blah, 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 blah. We get it. I got good news for all of you, my friends. Valuetainment. We love Valuetainment. Shout out to the PBD podcast. They write, ESG goes undercover as companies drop the acronym but keep the agenda. They know you know. They know you're paying attention. They know you know what ESG is, so they're trying to get rid of it. Valuetainment writes, as the nationwide pushback against environmental, social, and governance policies in the corporate world continues, financial insiders are beginning to move away from the ESG branding, but the agenda behind it is still very much in place. According to a survey from Bloomberg, bankers and other members of the finance industry are continuing to implement the ESG strategy, even while recognizing that the acronym is becoming increasingly toxic for businesses. ESG policies stem from an investment strategy that prioritizes environmental causes, social justice issues, and governmental compliance. Backed by asset management groups like BlackRock, these policies became the driving force for left-wing agendas in corporate culture, which has now prompted an enormous cultural backlash. In recent weeks, S&P Global, one of the world's largest raters of corporate debt, announced it will no longer include corporate ESG scores in its debt ratings. Similarly, companies like McDonald's have begun purging all references to the agenda from their corporate websites. However, even though the offending letters are being removed, the agenda they represent still is in effect almost everywhere. A new Bloomberg study revealed that 2/3 of nearly 300 global money managers surveyed will stop using the ESG acronym when interacting with clients, but will continue using the metrics behind closed doors. This story I bring up to point out two things. They may be losing, but they're not giving up. So, I got to tell you, my friends, it's actually quite simple. Just keep voting with your dollar. Keep supporting what you believe in. Keep rejecting what you disagree with. It's really that simple. Here's what I think is actually happening. There are some polls right now that show that, I love this, that Donald Trump is down to Joe Biden in the general election. There are a lot of polls showing that he's leading, so it's fairly comparable. I think Trump is rivaling above or below, depending on the poll. One of them shows that among independent voters, Trump actually is doing moderately well. Not perfectly, but, not so bad. He's actually improved quite a bit over the past year. And independents tend not to like Trump to a certain degree, right? But I do think Trump will likely earn their votes. Here's what I've seen. A couple of years ago, I was hanging out with extended family. And some of these individuals held default anti-Trump views. They tend to believe narratives that made no sense, and they outright rejected things that were true because they did not read the news. One story that I often point out was when I was hanging out at a family event and mentioned that there was concern China would get access to people's DNA through COVID tests. And one individual said, that's ridiculous. You can't say these things. And so I quickly pulled up the article from NPR, which said exactly as I described, and showed them and said, I don't know. I just read NPR. NPR's not Fox News, is it? And it seemed like a light bulb went off. It's now been a couple of years, and the sentiment I see among many of these individuals is no longer passively anti-Trump. It's passively anti-Democrat, complaining about crime in cities, complaining about Portland and Chaz and the autonomous zones and the homelessness and the taking dumps in the streets of San Francisco, the migrant crisis in New York and Chicago. Regular people now, I'm not saying they're pro-Trump. They've not come to me and said, no, I'm voting Trump, banging the fist on the table. No, they've just been like, I am sick of what these people are doing. So here's what I think. I think a bunch of these people are probably going to be secret Trump voters. I think you'll find that these people will claim, well, I'm sick of the Democrats, but I won't vote for Trump. I'm voting for Trump. They'll go and vote for him because they're starting to get fed up. Man, do you remember 2019? I can't believe it's been 4 years. How good the economy was back then. It's 2023. I met so many people who said that they were making so much money, the best numbers of their lives. I met a furniture saleswoman. We were actually setting up IRL for the first time, Timcast IRL. And I was buying the table and the chairs and everything. And she laughed and said, this has been the best year of my life in terms of her career. She's like, I've never made more money. It's amazing. I walked in and I put down $5,000 on all this furniture. And she was just laughing, being like, right now, I'm like, let's just do it. And she's like, wow, this is great. And I was like, hey, look, we're doing really well too. The economy was booming. Now it's not. Now you have endless videos of people saying, I can't buy groceries anymore. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to vote for their self-interest. Trump is going to come out and say, I may be nasty, but I'm going to fix the economy. It's going to be very good. And they're going to be like, don't care, don't know, whatever, do it. Not everybody, but enough. I don't think Joe Biden is going to be able to pull this one off. He had the benefit of COVID lockdown. They don't have that anymore. Now you have a vigilant and angry, passionate group of people who are sick of this. I'm not saying they're going to vote Trump. I don't know. But I don't see the Democrats getting the vote. So you know what may happen? Trump has a fervent base. Democrats do not. Democrats had anti-Trump sentiment in 2020. They don't have so much today. Here's what I think may happen. Trump will get, in 2024, maybe 75 million votes. And Joe Biden will maybe get, 70, 60. Hard to know for sure. My point is this. The indifferent people who voted for Joe Biden because they hated Trump are now going to throw up their hands and say, I don't even know anymore. And that means if Trump can maintain the same level of votes he got in 2020, he wins. And don't you forget it. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.